new report from Mother Jones notes that several red states are reclassifying fossil fuels as green energy. That's right. In Louisiana, after Governor Jeff Landry had signed a bill into law last month, making natural gas into green energy. Okay, this is an effort to get fossil fuel access to clean energy funding. So, the whole clean energy funding that was approved by the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act, signed into law by Biden. Yeah, it turns out fossil fuel companies want some of that cash. That's right. Now, Louisiana, their law comes on the heels of similar bills passed in Ohio, Tennessee, and Indiana. Now, what these bills have in common, besides an updated definition of what a fossil fuel is and how, oh, yeah, no, fossil fuels, super clean. They're green energy, everybody. Yeah, that's right. This is the other thing that it has in common is the language that is taken directly from a right-wing think tank, specifically the American Legislative Exchange Council, or ALEC. Now, this is that group that goes in that, people that have been in politics for a long time, have been covering politics for a long time, have, talked about ALEC once or twice before. But if you're new to this, then here's what ALEC does. They just write model legislation. Okay, they get together with the lobbyists from the different special interests and special interest groups, and they literally write bills. And then they send those bills, model bills, out to whatever state, maybe all of them, out to Congress, and they send these things, and basically these politicians that are bought will then introduce those bills as if they had written them. Okay, they'll introduce them as their own. And so, and you can see these duplicate bills in all these different places, in different states, and in, Congress. And so this one, of course, this bill would, reclassify not only natural gas as green energy, but also nuclear power, and says that in order to minimize the reliance on foreign adversary nations for energy, we must ensure that natural gas and nuclear power are eligible for all state programs that fund green energy or clean energy initiatives. That's it. I mean, so basically, they reclassify natural gas to be green energy, and that means that they would be able to get access to funding that would otherwise have gone to solar or wind projects. And that's really it. It's about money. Now, obviously, natural gas is not clean energy. Okay. The primary ingredient in natural gas is methane, which is far more potent of a greenhouse gas than carbon pollution that has been, produced by coal and oil. Now, the difference here, though, like between methane and carbon, is that methane doesn't stay in the atmosphere as long as carbon, but it is much more potent, and so it still contributes greatly to climate change. In fact, studies have found that over the long term, the planet warming impact of the natural gas industry may be equivalent to that of coal, which is an incredibly dirty fossil fuel. And we also have the problem of leaky pipelines. That's right. Leaky pipelines in the United States alone allowed for about 1.2 million to 2.6 million tons of methane to escape into the atmosphere every year. That is not good at all. So now, the bill was first introduced in Louisiana by State Representative Jacob Landry, and is nearly identical to the model bill posted on ALEC's website and to the other bills that have passed in Ohio, Tennessee, and Indiana. Landry, who represents a small district in the southern part of the state, happens to be the recipient of a lot of fossil fuel money. Of course. Not only that, but he co-owns 2 oil and gas consulting firms. So, yeah, this guy is knee-deep in the sludge. Okay, it's fossil fuel sludge, getting all that money. He in the swamp. He is a swamp. Now, during his campaign for the state legislature, Landry received donations from at least 15 fossil fuel affiliated companies and PACs, including ExxonMobil and Phillips 66. Those donations alone totaled over $20,000. Think of how cheap these politicians are, the local ones. Super, super cheap. Okay, now, the result of all that lobbying is the fact that Louisiana pretty much almost entirely relies on natural gas. Now, that is a problem for consumers, not just because of the environmental impacts, but it's a problem for consumers because that makes Louisiana's power grid one of the least reliable in the country. According to a ranking, Louisiana ranks 44th in power grid reliability. Now, I've talked a lot about Texas, especially in the context of Texas's power grid. Like after flying Ted Cruz, all right, Cancun Cruz himself, decided to leave the state just at a time where you had a really, really bad ice storm that knocked out their power grid, and not just for days, okay, and it caused several deaths. It was a really horrible situation. But then you look at Texas, right, which already has a pretty terrible power grid. I think they're ranked 30th. And then, well, I just said they are ranked 30th. But you look at Louisiana, which doesn't get talked about enough, and they have a horrible power grid. Not the worst in the country, but really, really bad. I mean, 44th out of 50. And look, according to a 2025 report from the Louisiana Legislative Auditor's Office, quote, the best practices have found that gas plants are susceptible to large-scale failures during extreme weather. Diversifying the energy sources used for electricity generation is a priority. Because guess what? Louisiana does get a lot of extreme weather. They get hit by hurricanes. Okay, so yeah, that's a problem. Now, apparently, though, to these politicians, what they mean by diversifying energy sources just means taking natural gas and calling it green energy. Oh, that's what they're doing. Oh, great. Yeah, lovely. Laura Peterson, senior analyst with the Union of Concerned Scientists, told Mother Jones, quote, Louisiana is a classic example of a captured state. Captured by whom? The fossil fuel industry. Their state economy is just so dependent on fossil fuels and petrochemicals. That state accounts for about 10% of the country's natural gas production and holds about 6% of U.S. natural gas reserves. Natural gas is already used to generate about 3/4 of the state's electricity. So she added that, hey, them getting access to clean energy funding to build more infrastructure is actually not going to help you. Quote, building LNG infrastructure is not going to lower anyone's energy prices in the short term, since it takes many years to build a pipeline. And there's a lot of research that shows that over-reliance on gas power leaves power grids vulnerable to extreme weather, which Louisiana has a lot of. It's classic greenwashing, right? The intent of these laws is to allow the build-out of fossil fuel infrastructure, which will perpetuate the use of fossil fuels for decades to come. And that's the point. Everything they do is about making money for the donors at the expense of all of the rest of us. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.